Hello and welcome to the Blockade Runner podcast. My name is John. Joining me tonight is Ryan.
Hello.
And today is Monday, February 5th, and we are here to talk about our reactions to the big game Han Solo teaser trailer and the legit Han Solo teaser trailer that dropped this morning. Ryan, you and I have barely had a chance to talk. We've been at work all day, a couple texts exchanged, but that's about it. So I'm excited to hear what what your reactions are, what you're thinking about the Solo trailer.
Wait, we're talking about the Solo trailer? You texted me and said we're going to talk about the big game.
I
And
mean, hey, Foles caught a touchdown, Brady dropped one. You know what I mean? Who would have thunk it?
yeah.
Do you understand those words that I said out
Nope.
loud? No? Okay, I don't think so.
Are those Twi'leks?
I did watch the big game. I enjoyed it, but obviously the main event for me, the real appeal, was the Solo trailer. And we're going to start by talking about the big game teaser. I have to tell you, honestly, I was like a little bit underwhelmed by the big game teaser myself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you landed with that one too?
I was more just like, I didn't know what to think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't really feel strongly one way or another. It just seemed kind of weird. I don't know, but maybe that was also just the, accustoming myself to like this visual style and, the tone and the new characters and everything. It also just wasn't what I expected either. So that threw me a bit.
Yeah, totally. It was not what I expected, and I felt like it didn't have as much personality as I hoped that it would. But I think that was kind of rectified with this morning's full-on teaser. So let's look at them and kind of go through them and talk about what we found interesting as we go. The thing with this big game teaser, which is 45 seconds long, is that some of the footage is from the full trailer, but then there's other stuff that's different, right? So I think we'll spend definitely less time on this one because some of the same stuff is in like the main real trailer. But let's look at like let's look at the beginning part, which is different, right? That's like the beginning part is the different stuff with the Imperial officer. So I'm going to watch it and I'll try to turn my volume down a little bit, Ryan, but let's watch the beginning part here. I love the switches and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Come on. Somebody's calling me on the telephone while I'm trying to watch this. Let me hit play again. But no, I love the the black hole thing here too as the Star Destroyer is coming out. But that's kind of in that other trailer too. Yeah, so like this opening part is like it's like a Han Solo interview, right? With like an Imperial officer, I guess is what it would be.
Yeah, it's like a job interview.
A job interview. Yeah, you want to join the Empire, you want to make a difference. And then Han Solo says, "Oh, I want to be the best pilot in the galaxy," which is cool. I didn't realize it was Han Solo when I first watched it. I don't know about you. But I was like, "Oh, is that Han Solo?" I didn't actually. I was discombobulated. I was actually in the other room in the kitchen. My friend who I was watching the Super Bowl with was like screaming, like, "Get in here, run in here right now." And I didn't know what to think initially, but yeah, this trailer kind of keeps that reveal a little bit of a secret that it's Han Solo. What do you? I'm into the whole like joining the Imperial thing. I think that's definitely something people would have expected with this movie, and maybe it's something that a lot of us have kind of known. I don't know if that was in the synopsis or not. That was released through StarWars.com, but I'm into that. I think that's cool. That should be pretty interesting to see like a plucky, young, rebellious Han Solo trying to kind of get in line with an Imperial mentality and rules and regulations and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic, and also just seeing like what makes him leave the Imperials. Is it like a crisis of conscience, or is it just like, which I think is probably more likely, thinking about what we know about Han Solo at the beginning of A New Hope, that he probably just wanted to do his own thing and didn't really care so much um, about the maybe kind of ethical issues within the empire, and it's more just about him just thinking he could make more money, or just not wanting to have anyone telling him what to do.
Yeah, possibly. Although I'm thinking maybe the Chewbacca situation is a likely catalyst. Maybe that's when he comes across Chewbacca. I don't know what's like officially canon with that whole situation or not. Although it does seem like they're pretty, like a lot of the ideas that were put forth in the EU about some of this stuff they're going back to, like with Han being part of the Empire. And I know that in the old kind of, storyline or whatever, I believe it was Chewbacca or Han Solo kind of being on Kashyyyk because of the Imperials. I want to say I thought that was the case. So anyway, I like that idea. I like the idea that maybe early in his life we see him kind of joining the Empire, doesn't go too well, and then maybe comes across the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, and that could be a catalyst for him. Or maybe that's too predictable. I guess we'll see. But I think with this big game teaser, it's just that like kind of interview segment in the beginning there that's different from the rest of the trailer. Maybe we don't get the shot of him kind of behind the bars with the bars in front of his face in the full on teaser. Which that was probably my favorite moment. Either that or Han Solo and Chewbacca with their kind of backs to the camera at the very end. I think those were probably my two favorite moments of the big game teaser.
What about Lando in that coat?
Yeah, okay, Lando in the coat's good, but the Lando footage in the actual trailer today is better.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
But that might be the most Han Solo Alden Ehrenreich is in either teaser, is like with that, those shadows, the bars and shadows across his face, and he's got this kind of like, I don't know, very Han Solo look on his face, I thought. So, but yeah, I think that's it from the 45-second big game teaser. If we want to move on to the full on one, unless there's anything else from that initial one.
No.
Yeah, it was cool. I watched it a bunch of times, but I just kind of felt like it seemed a little, I don't know, a little lacking in terms of communicating what was special about the movie and what the kind of like unique flavor of the movie is. So we'll get that maybe a little more.
It did give us the music though.
It did give us
that like kind of I don't know, like a reorchestrated version of the theme.
Yeah.
Like, is that the John Williams track?
I don't think so. It could be, I guess, but I'm really hesitant to put much. Like, if you go back and look at the teasers for any of the previous Star Wars movies, I don't know if any of the music is actually in the movies. I think they just cut together stuff, and I don't know. I don't think it's likely to be music from the movie. I was talking to Kevin about this earlier. I think what it does do is kind of potentially indicate like a feeling they want to communicate musically, or tonally it's interesting, but I doubt it's actual soundtrack. I don't know that they've even recorded the soundtrack for the movie yet. A lot of times that's done like in the month or two leading up to the movie. So I'm going to guess it's not any music that's actually from the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But we do know that John Williams is going to be is going to be writing, or maybe has written a theme for Han Solo, which he's never had before. So it's pretty killer. And that's exciting in its own right. Just knowing that's on the way. So
yeah.
Do you have the other trailer queued up? Or are you going to kind of watch along, or?
I'll just take your word for it.
You'll take my word for it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyone tell me what's happening.
Okay. Anyone who's listening, I guess, is going to have to do that too. So maybe it's for the best.
I've watched it a few times. So.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to start from the major trailer here and just kind of scrub through it. So we'll see what we get. Yeah, the first one, the one from last night opens with the same kind of like clicking switches on the Falcon, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get these. I'm going to pause here, but we get the shots of Solo and Kira in this like kind of speeder, which is cool. It's very dingy, very like underground. Hard to say what planet they're on necessarily, or anything like that, but definitely got that like dangerous kind of street racing vibe happening, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like her bangs too. She's got some very like they're pretty earthly, I guess, but she's got some cool like 70s, maybe, I don't know, if 80s almost bangs there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how different she looks at different points in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's definitely something going on with her, because here she looks like a street rat, like Han, but then in other scenes she's like almost regal.
Yeah.
Which it implies that Han definitely has a type.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think part of it is that the movie is going to span quite a bit of time, right? So it seems that way anyway. It seems it'll cover at least a few years of his life, and so I think we're seeing characters at various points in that period of time anyway. Because Han here has got like kind of a, I don't know if perm is the right word, but there's some legit volume to his hair in this shot. So and his hair definitely looks different at various points as well. But yeah, I think we saw some shots of this speeder that he's cruising around in like Ron Howard tweets and stuff. But it looks cool. Looks really cool. And so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what planet this is, but they're being chased by some Imperials here. Really cool, but very different looking speeders. The back of Han's speeder is pretty 70s and pretty Star Wars, but the other one, like the one that the Stormtrooper is on, is like super angular, like really boxy.
Yeah. Did you read the Anthony Breznican trailer breakdown?
I did look at that. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Because he points out that the back of Han's speeder here is similar to a Ford Falcon.
Really?
Which
Maybe
is
I didn't read.
Which is something that fans had pointed out, which would, obviously combine Harrison Ford and the Millennium Falcon.
That's awesome.
The taillights, yeah. My biggest takeaway from this scene in particular was just how very like mid 70s sci-fi it looks. Like just like like you were saying, the boxy nature of everything, just like the hard steel metallic everywhere. The colors, everything. It looked like something like I don't know, like a Battlestar Galactica or something like that. Just I don't know.
Or like, I don't know, like Dune or something, like, or even, I don't know, like it kind of reminds me, it's dirtier and like grittier than I would expect. Like obviously there's a connection, but it almost like has like a Mad Max kind of look or something to it at times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is just like, I was thinking, and I talked about this earlier with Kevin too, which I might include that audio within this episode, but I was thinking it'd be like bright colors, like, but not bell bottoms actually, but you know what I mean? More of that kind of thing. Like that's what I thought they were going to go like goofy 70s, funny,
like disco.
Yeah. Just like when you see pictures of like Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher on the press tour for like Star Wars and A New Hope in the 70s, and like the kind of clothing they're wearing and stuff, like, and the colors associated with that time, I thought it'd be more along those lines, which I'm not, that probably would have potentially been bad and not that good. This looks really cool, but it's just definitely different than I thought, and I'm sure it looked like this when Lord and Miller were doing the movie too. So it's really, yeah, I'm just trying to piece together what this movie is exactly, but it's cool. Let's see. yeah, so the street race sequence, probably early in the movie, very cool, very Han Solo, like a big focus on the piloting and all that stuff, and I love it.
Mhm.
After that sequence, it cuts to this planet, which is like kind of mountains and snowy, and then like lots of clouds as well, which is some beautiful imagery here. And then we get the inside of the Falcon. This is crazy, and something that people were pointing out last night, and I saw obviously in the big game teaser. But the Falcon with these like pure white walls and
Mm.
hallways, it's so different.
Yeah, it really makes you think of like how gross the Falcon we see in New Hope is.
And it doesn't take that long to get that way either, which is
No.
interesting. But
Like
it
what happened in there? I mean, maybe that will be part of the story.
yeah, but it's funny because like this hallway that this white hallway, the circular tubular hallway or whatever. I never really thought of it as dirty. I was just kind of thought of it as like lived in. I guess
Mhm.
that's same kind of thing. But like once you see what it was supposed to have been and what it would have looked like, and then like thinking about what it does look like, it's like whoa, you
Yeah,
know.
but that almost kind of makes sense when you think about the Falcon being owned by Lando, and then you think of like how Cloud City looks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like he actually runs a tight ship, and he values appearance and cleanliness and grooming.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. I think the Falcon's going to have a different look in the exterior as well, not just inside. I think it's going
Mhm.
to look different on the outside as well, for sure. So that is cool. Makes sense. After that, we get this shot that was also in the big game teaser of Han, and I don't know where this is because it's like gray and smoky and brown and cloudy outside, but looking up at the Falcon from outside. At that cockpit window. So it's pretty cool shot. He's got like that big furry coat on there too, which is definitely has that kind of 70s vibe. And then we cut to this other planet. I'm assuming this is yet another planet. So he'll be hopping around a little bit, but a shot of him walking towards this beach. And this, I guess it's a station of some kind. This might be after that long shot, that establishing shot or whatever. This might be my favorite moment visually in the whole thing, which is Han meeting up with Woody Harrelson.
Mm.
But there's the like, I'm gonna go back, but there's the what would you call those things around them?
Like
The
monoliths or
yeah,
statues, something.
yeah, with the carvings in them and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, really cool. Um, really interesting. I think also very 70s, which is cool, but and evocative of that era of sci-fi. I think kind of like you were talking
Mhm.
about earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love that part. I don't know where they are, and I haven't
Woody
really stopped.
Harrelson looks awesome,
He does,
by
yeah,
the
he
way.
does.
I actually kind of forgot he was in this movie until because he hasn't been in any of like the leaked promo material or anything.
Right.
And so like this was the first time at least the first time I actually saw him in character as his character, and it's pretty he's awesome. He looks great.
He does look great. It's interesting because I think with Force Awakens and Rogue One for sure, we had seen like ensemble photos, and with Force Awakens they'd released those cards, which
Mhm.
kind of gave names to the character. Yeah, I think they had names, but gave you a little information about the characters and stuff. And like with this trailer, we're just going in like totally blind, like
Yeah.
no information in comparison to the other movies. So
I
it's like
mean, minus what we've gleaned from Lego sets.
yeah.
We've seen Lego versions of these characters.
Right, but I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's seeing footage from the movie, but also just like trying to get an idea of like who are the players in the story,
Mhm.
So, but yeah, this is basically him saying, I'm putting a crew together, and after that, it cuts to a shot of Kira and the droid. I forget the name of the droid slips my mind right now, but I believe this is the character that's played by is her name Phoebe Waller Bridger or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, not Phoebe Cates.
Not Phoebe Cates, no.
No.
But yeah, so I guess I imagine they're a part of the crew. Although she looks, I think this is the shot where you're talking about how regal she looks, right? Big red cape and totally different hairstyle and lots of makeup and yeah. So I think they'll be part of the crew. Cut to this incredible shot of Lando Calrissian.
Oh my god,
he's so Lando. I mean, he is so.
Yeah.
The mannerisms, he's got the one shoulder up, he's got the hand up in the air, the sleeves on the shirt are kind of rolled back, and man, the way he raises that eyebrow and gets that smile going, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. You got to feel a little bad for Alden Ehrenreich too, because I feel like coming out of this trailer, everybody is like, oh my God, Donald Glover is amazing as Lando. And I'm not sure there's the same level of excitement for this unknown kid kind of coming in and playing Harrison Ford's character. But people have a lot of reasons to love and respect Donald Glover, so I think that helps too.
Yeah, I think he was already like endearing.
Yeah.
To a lot of people because people like his music, people like Community,
people like that gif where he comes in with the pizzas and then everything's on fire.
Oh yeah, people love that gif.
Yeah, I love that gif. Yeah,
I mean, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's just like super well liked. I think he's also just like I don't know. He's just got like a bit of Billy D in him. Like, I don't even want to say like it's an appearance thing because they're different looking people, but like he can trick you into thinking he's Billy D. Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
it's kind of like the Ewan McGregor, like, Alec Guinness thing where you're like, obviously this is not the same person, but I'm totally buying it.
I don't think that matters. I think it matters for about 2 minutes at the beginning. I mean, they need to have like, a basic resemblance to the person and on some level, but I think it's so much more about mannerisms, about, line delivery and even, the voice but yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, freeze framed image from the trailer right now and just everything about his body language, his smile, kind of his movements and gestures. It's all so Lando. And I think that's what really matters. So hopefully Alden Ehrenreich is able to, do that with Han. I do think he looks the part. He really looks the part. But it's not just like Alden Ehrenreich, I'm saying he looks the part, but that's not all just down to like, oh, the kid looks just like Harrison Ford. I think the way he's carrying himself and the hair and the clothes and everything, it comes together. So that part's good because I felt like, I think watching the movie will get sucked into it right away if they do it well, and it won't matter. But even watching the trailer, I'm already just like, yep, that's Han Solo.
I'm still not there.
No,
I'll be honest.
Okay,
I'm still just not there.
I don't know if I'm there with the performance in the trailer, but I'm there with the look. I think like physically, like I'm looking at Han Solo, but I don't know if I'm hearing it like when he speaks and stuff is kind of where my issue is. I'm just not. It just totally it hasn't totally clicked for me. Like right now, I don't want to say it like feels like a fan film, like him in there. Like it's a little like it's above that, but I don't know. There's just something, and I can't even think of like any sort of parallel, but I mean, all I can say is like it's not selling me in the same way that, again, like Ewan McGregor sold me on Obi-Wan, and Donald Glover is selling me on Lando. Like it's not at that level. But like you said, I mean, maybe once we start actually watching the movie, like it'll be totally fine. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's, you can't really tell from the trailer, obviously, and we'll see. But I'm rooting for him. I think most of us are rooting for him. And,
yeah.
And I don't really. I don't know that I believe the rumors about like, him being bad on set and that being a big source of contention and all that. I think because people bring that up to me, people who know almost nothing about the movie will be like, "Oh, you're excited for that? I hear that kid can't act." And I'm like, like just
That is definitely a rumor that came from somewhere and definitely spread.
Yeah,
And
I don't know that the fact that it spread is really rooted in the fact that it has substance though. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, I mean it's 2018. Like most news you read is BS that has like spread.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think a lot of it just came from the fact that there wasn't much else being said by Lucasfilm about the movie, so people are
mhm.
like, "Well, it must mean it's horrible," and then kind of glean on to the first sort of negative rumor. So I feel pretty, I feel for him, but
Yeah, I mean
hopefully
I
it's coming
hope
together.
it's like male Star Wars leads have they've had some struggles. I know like Jake Lloyd has not had a great post Phantom Menace run, both like professionally and like emotionally.
Hmm.
um, and I feel like Hayden Christensen has really been a target. I mean, since Attack of the Clones, like
Yeah, I think that whole situation's improved. I think, we don't have time to talk about it too much now, but I
yeah.
think the attitudes and stuff towards the prequels are improving, and it was so great to see him at Celebration earlier, or well, last year now.
Mm.
I think hopefully he's coming around. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that Star Wars fans and movie fans in general, sometimes they can be ruthless and brutal if they're not happy with an element or a performance and stuff like that. So, uh, but yeah, let's keep going through the trailer. We got Billy D. I'm sorry, we have Donald Glover being so Billy
See,
D. It's might as well be Billy D.
yeah.
Yeah. But oh my God, let's go back to Thandie Newton. The look she gives here, I believe that's her name, right? Thandie Newton. See, I haven't seen Westworld or really I don't know that I've seen any of her other work, but
Mm.
she looks awesome and intense. Part of the crew. I don't know if we know, I think we do know her character's name. Is it Val or something like that?
Okay.
I want to say is what people were saying today.
So
So
it's not Sena Solo,
I don't believe it's I always pronounce that Sana Solo in my
Sana.
head.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, I don't know. No, I mean it's not that we know of. It
that would
wasn't my
be
favorite. It wasn't my favorite thing in the Star Wars comic anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be the case, and I feel like the Kira character is probably the love interest in this movie. So
Mhm.
although it's Han Solo, I wouldn't put it past him to have more than one love interest in the movie at the same time. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looks incredible. She looks so cool and
Yeah.
really tough, and that's going to be. I think her character seems like she'll be really cool. So that's exciting. Cuts to this like space monkey, although I shouldn't use that term because we already used it with the space monkey and Rogue One. God, all of the controls for these devices and stuff look so like rusty and rickety, and
Mhm.
which is cool. It's like it's got a very dingy, dirty look. This reminds me almost like the interior of the ship. Almost looks more like something from Alien. I feel like,
Mm.
or Blade Runner, maybe, or that kind of thing. So,
Again,
um,
like mid 70s, early 80s sci-fi.
that's happening. This shot afterwards is one that I haven't been able to examine too closely, but it's promising because it's Han walking into, I don't know if it's like a gambling den or like a bar of some kind or something. It's very low lit, but there seems like there's a lot of creatures in there. And so that's something that could turn out to be very cool, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm glad they showed some aliens for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. We cut back here now to Chewie and Han and the Woody Harrelson character. And Woody Harrelson's basically saying, like, are you guys going to join or not? And then Chewbacca gives a big roar. And this is when Han tells him, I think that's a yes, or that's a yes, basically. That line is so I don't know. I mean, we really shouldn't probably sit here and pick apart the acting in this little teaser, but that one I feel like is kind of muted and sort of like flat. The delivery on that
Mhm.
one, I'm like, that doesn't seem too Han Solo to me, But I don't know. He's also got like I don't know what era hair he's got here. The hair always looks a little different. Um, but yeah, they're going to join up. Really cool shot after that of Lando and that droid kind of doing this thing with their
Oh
hands,
yeah, so
um,
cool.
synchronized. So that's cool. And I'm hoping for a lot of moments like that. Personally, I really like the opening with like I already mentioned it like 3 times, but I really like the opening when like all those switches and stuff are getting clicked,
Mhm.
and it just gives you like that whole like I don't know like team adventure montage type like thing. I could totally imagine that like, or when you watch a movie of that era, maybe, or like a superhero movie, and it shows like characters like zipping up and putting on all the different like things in quick succession. You know what I mean? Like quick cuts and like really like
Mm.
putting everything on. There's just something fun about that. So
You know,
anyway,
you know what it reminds me of is American Graffiti and like all the like stick shifts and like those kind of shots,
mm-hmm.
which is like obviously something that's really top of mind thinking about like a young Han Solo.
And a
Um,
young George Lucas with the hot rod culture and all that stuff.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yep, pretty cool. Um, so they're kicking it into hyperspace. We got this summer. We've got a weird sort of like, what is this weird like dance sequence? It's a woman in like a
In all the gold,
all
yeah.
gold dress.
There's some
Uh,
Twi'leks.
there's some Twi'leks in the foreground there, but then there's this like floating green like alien thing in a tube, and she seems
Yeah.
to be getting a little on the sensual side with this like floating tube alien thing. Um,
Wait, how is that sensual?
if you were looking at the trailer right now, she's like doing this thing with her body, and like she's looking straight at this thing. It's like right next to her, and she's like looking right at it.
Oh,
You didn't think that was like a? I feel like it's a
that's not how I read that, but
dude. You know what? Okay, first off, she's got one leg exposed, like the long like slit in the dress, and like one leg exposed.
scandalous.
You know what? When you couple it with the way she's looking at this thing in a tube, yeah, I feel like that's what it's going for. But
Okay.
um, anyway, she tells, "Oh my, here's the best shot, maybe the best shot, the Western shot with the holster, the close up on the
Mm,
holster. That's
mhm.
fantastic." Um, and that's more what I thought we'd be seeing a lot of in the trailer too, is like a very Western vibe type thing.
Oh,
Um,
that does remind me. We did miss a scene in the big game teaser
okay.
of the fight on top of the moving train.
Oh, is that not in this one? That's not in this one.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Which is like a very like if they're doing like train heists and stuff in this movie, like that's very a very Western vibe, which I think was like that wasn't that one of the first things we heard about
Yes.
this movie is that it was going to have a Western vibe?
Yeah, and well, and Kathleen Kennedy was saying that for the look of the movie, they were gonna try to model it off. I forget the name of the. I'm a little bit of a philistine here, but there's like a famous painter who did like the American West, and did like these like
Yes. Yep.
and the color tones she was talking about and stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm not really necessarily seeing that in the colors and the kind of feel of the movie. But if we are, it's in this sequence, with these. I'm assuming bounty hunters.
Yeah.
But I love the whole Western feel of this shot, and that's just such a cool, Han and the blaster are inseparable. So to see,
Mhm.
this shot like this is really cool.
Well, and I mean it's also like evocative of when he shoots Greedo as well, with him like unsnapping.
It is. It is, but you could see where that's headed, right? And I'm not a super huge fan of it.
Oh, where's it headed?
He's gonna shoot first at one of these dudes, and then everyone's gonna be like, "See, Han shoots first. See, those special editions are so lame. Han shoots first. We won in the end because he shoots first." Like, I'm not excited about that.
Yeah, I mean that's been pretty like insufferable for the past 20 years.
Yes.
Um
And you every once in a while you have that
uh,
person who's like, "Oh, you like Star Wars? You like Star Wars, huh? Who shot first?" And I'm like,
name 3 of their songs.
"I'm done." No, but when that's the first thing somebody wants to talk to me about when it
Yeah.
comes to Star Wars, I'm like, I don't need to
No,
have
I
this
don't
conversation.
I I don't love that, and like obviously I respect George's vision across the board. I love the special editions. I'm still kind of Han's cooler if he shoots first.
Oh, I prefer that too. I just don't
Okay.
want to. I just don't care about like. I'm just. It's something I stopped caring about so long ago.
Oh,
And if
totally.
this is going to add fuel to that fire, like, ugh, like I just don't want to hear it
We
anymore.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't want to go through that again, but
it is cool though. Yeah, it is cool. It is cool.
it's cool
And
at
you know
the
what?
end.
In a more positive way, we could spin it is like Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark when he just takes the gun out and shoots the dude with the sword.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's going to be like kind of like that too, which would be awesome.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah, I guess that kind of sets it up for either one of those as far
mhm.
as like homages or
Or
connections go.
yeah, or both. I felt like the train thing too. That's like a very adventurous kind of like
Mhm.
almost Indiana Jones type thing, and I would love there to be a lot of Indiana Jones in the Han Solo standalone movie, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, what do you think about these like bounty hunter dudes? You maybe have looked more closely at some of the Lego leaks and toy leaks and stuff
Mhm.
than I have. Do you know like anything about this character? Do you know like the character's name or anything like that?
No, I mean they have names that I've like skimmed over, but like I don't none of that ever like resonates with me.
Okay.
Like they're weird alien names, and you never know with characters like this. Are they going to be you know are they going to be a major character, or are they going to be like a Zuvio? Like
I yeah. Well, I don't think he's already gotten like 20 times as much screen time as Zuvio just in the
but
teaser
does he
alone.
have 20 times more figures still on the pegs at my local Walmart?
No, I don't. That's true. But I'm thinking though. By the way, I saw somebody had already made a Zuvio poster in the style of the posters that came out today on StarWars.com with like the name and then the image behind it. You know,
Man,
yeah.
that is fast.
There was a Zuvio poster like that by like noon. And
Yeah.
I think it was Heath on Twitter who does
Yeah,
really
Heath
funny like
Williams.
yeah, it does like really hilarious like Star Wars
Great
stuff like that. So
photoshops, yeah.
yeah, so I think he was the one who made it, but
Most likely, yeah.
it was hilarious. But yeah, no, I'm thinking and what I'm hoping, and we'll see. I don't think we need like an overarching villain across the movie because I don't think it needs to be that kind of story.
No.
So to me, it would make sense like whatever planet they're on here or whatever, the movie I'm sure is going to be set up in acts, and maybe one of those acts will he'll be in trouble with these guys and he'll have to get out of it, you know what I mean? And that's enough. I don't think it needs to be like he needs to be like the villain that follows him throughout the movie or whatever. So
Mhm.
I would guess a cool sequence, maybe in the beginning, maybe in the middle, maybe in the end, but that's probably enough. Where do you fall
Do,
on the sorry.
no, no, I want to follow that up a little bit. Like, do you think it is possible to make a blockbuster action movie without a central villain in 2018?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like, what have you seen recently that doesn't have that? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of movies that didn't need a central villain but had one. Um, like I'm thinking stuff like Ant-Man, which like that movie definitely did not need a
Who
central
was
villain.
who was the villain in that one?
I don't even remember.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's like that sort of
Well, I think where I would land, like, is it fashionable? Is it common? Is it happening? Like to not have a central villain? Maybe not, but I don't know. I don't think that means it needs one just because that's what everybody
no,
else is
no, I'm
doing.
just wondering, like I totally agree with you, and that's something I think with like superhero movies all the time is like, oh, this didn't really
Yeah.
just didn't really need that conflict.
I think Lawrence Kasdan and Ron Howard are the people making this movie, and so I guess my feeling would be that, you know, hopefully Lawrence Kasdan wrote it in more of a Indiana Jones, Return of the Jedi, Empire, you know, like wrote it kind of more from the perspective and the mindset of writing movies in that era, more so than if they had brought in somebody who's, you know, Lawrence Kasdan hasn't written any other big action movies in the last 20 years except for Force Awakens, you know, so it's not like the creative team behind this is, you know, rooted in kind of doing these kind of movies and has been making these kind of movies successfully for the last couple of years, or, you know, I don't know that it'll follow the trends. I hope it won't. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
What I'm more worried about in terms of trends, are trends within Lucasfilm. And I was going to ask you, what do you think the chances are that Darth Vader is in this movie?
This is like I'm officially at Vader saturation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and this has been building up for a while. Like, I was pretty exhausted with Vader going into Rogue One just because of like Rebels and the comic, and it felt like we were just getting too much Vader. And then you know, this like Rogue One, like it wasn't really that cool in the trailers, and then like the first Vader scene in Rogue One I found really off-putting the first time I saw it, but then by the end I was like, okay, that was great. Or maybe not great, but like I liked it a lot more, especially in like subsequent viewings. But I really don't need it in
Yeah, I agree.
this movie.
Agreed. I don't want it. I don't think it'll be in there, but I do think with Rogue One they were kind of like, this movie needs something, you know, to hook people. It needs something to excite people and whatever. And I think Vader was it for that movie. So I hope they're not going to try to play that card again here.
Yeah,
I love
mean,
Vader.
I feel like it's more likely we see some sort of Vader in Episode 9.
Well, that I would be cool with. I would be happy with that because that would make sense, like from a story perspective.
Yeah.
It's sort of his saga, you know, depending on how you look at it. So that I'm cool with, but I just don't need them to try to like bring it into the Han Solo movie. I don't feel like when Han Solo sees Darth Vader on the Death Star in A New Hope, he's like, oh, my old nemesis. You know what I mean? Like there's no, and I don't think the Death Star should be in this movie either, because he certainly doesn't seem to know what it is in A New Hope. So hopefully that won't be the case either.
And like this was something we both kind of complained about with the Star Wars comic, the Star Wars comic over at Marvel. Like they brought in Vader, which completely didn't make sense when you actually watch the movie. Because like, you know, having him and Luke already meet prior just felt really gross.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, like you said, like, it wouldn't make sense but it wouldn't make sense for Han to see him. But what if Lando did?
Yeah, maybe. I guess so.
And it's like, and then he's like, at some point in the future, you'll owe me a favor.
I guess so, but yeah, it's a little Easter eggy, you know what I mean? But maybe
I don't want it, but that I would be more okay with than
that. Yes, that would definitely be preferable. I like the idea of keeping the scope smaller, though. You know what I mean, for this story. So we'll see.
Which is something that, again, talking about trends within Lucasfilm, they really struggle with. They have this amazing toy box, and there's some toys they can't seem to just leave in the box. And I mean, we've seen that with like the ballooning scope of stuff like the comics and Rebels, and where it starts off as like this small personal thing, and then, you know, suddenly like all the toys are out, like running into each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, mostly I like it, but I also am like, sort of ready to, you know, move on. Like we are in a transition period of like, we are eventually we have to move past stuff that happened 40 years ago. Like if this franchise is going to continue and be, worthwhile, like we have to start embracing some of the new awesome stuff, which there's a ton of. And obviously, you know, we love the legacy stuff, but I also think Star Wars is more than that. So every time they like reach back into that toolbox, it almost kind of comes across as like a lack of confidence in some ways. Like you were saying, like, well, they put Darth Vader in Rogue One because they knew they needed to hook people, but like that story would have been fine without him.
It would have, but people leaving, like, I can't tell you how many people I talk to when, you bring up Rogue One. It's like, oh yeah, the movie, it was the Vader scene that made the movie. You know what I mean? Like when people came out of those theaters, the people I talked to, most of them came out really positive, and I think the Vader scene went a long way to selling them on it. I think I'm fine with it. It's not a big complaint. It's not a big deal, but like I think it actually is. The stuff with him and Krennic, I think, is fine, but like him showing up in the end and slaughtering everybody, it's cool. But it also, to me, it kind of like comes out of nowhere and takes away from the rest of the movie a little bit. But I don't know. It's I don't want to get into it now, but it's not my favorite thing. It feels a little forced to me. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I think that again, when it comes to like who's putting this movie together. Lawrence Kasdan, Ron Howard, I think that they would be a little more likely to resist the temptation to try to like connect everything than somebody like, Gareth Edwards or, somebody younger who maybe,
I don't know. Lawrence Kasdan didn't always resist that temptation in Force Awakens.
That's true. That is true. But I think it's more from like little jokey standpoints than like he didn't, the story itself, I feel like, wasn't too much in that direction, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm also like, I'm okay with that too. Like, it's not going to like make, it's not going to kill the movie for me or anything, but like, it also just, I guess where I come down on stuff like that and like the Vader scene in Rogue One is like, it doesn't enhance it for me. And like, what I'm actually more interested in is new stuff, like new characters. Like I want, Rogue One had an amazing cast. Like, I mean, what if we could have spent a few more minutes with them? And that's like something fresh and new. Like that's kind of more exciting to me. But I also know it's like a really tough line to walk because there are some people who are only going for the legacy stuff. And like, that's going to be really weird in the next few years when we run out of nostalgia and we run out of stories to tell with these legacy characters. Like, what is the brand going to be going forward?
Rian Johnson, he's going to answer that question for you, I think. Hopefully good. In a good way. Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, let's scroll through the rest of this trailer here. We left off with our bounty hunter, our nameless bounty hunter, at least to me. He looks super cool. A little bit maybe of Kylo Ren, like in that mask there.
Yeah, that was a weird look.
Design-wise. I bet there may have been some crossover in terms of the design stuff. So, by the way, Phil Stozak, the author of the visual dictionary books, I retweeted him today stating that he is most excited about this movie, more excited about this movie than any other project that has come out during his 10 years at Lucasfilm. I'm paraphrasing, but basically that's what he said. So it's cool to see people within the company super, super excited.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We get some more cool action sequences, ships flying, Kira telling Han, what does she tell him exactly? I may be the only one who knows exactly what you are.
Mm-hmm. What you are.
Yeah, but she's got a look on her face, like it's a kind of a warm, I feel like it's like a positive type look on her face. Like maybe she's trying to tell him you're more than people think you are or something. I don't know. But yeah, and then he's got that swagger, that charm thing going on. It cuts back to him talking to her in that moment, and he asks her like, "Oh yeah, what's that?" Or I don't know exactly how he delivers that line or what that line is, but he has got the smile. He's got the, I think in the same way, it's not quite as like shocking or quite as like exciting as that sequence earlier, the shot earlier where Lando, where Donald Glover looks so Billy D. Williams and so Lando, but I think he's selling it here in a big way. I think in this scene, I'm looking at Han Solo in this moment. I feel like, and that's almost it. We see the logo come in. It's funny when that logo, the animation on the logo, when the letters spin around, it looks for whatever reason. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, that looks so Lego to me. Which I don't know. It gives it a lighthearted kind of feel. It also maybe is like a little bit of a connection, unintentionally maybe, or I don't know what, to Miller and Lord there a little bit. But
also I've seen this final scene. I've I've seen people say that maybe there's some underlying fourth wall breaking here, talking to the audience.
Yeah.
It almost just feels like it's addressing some of the concerns, I guess.
I thought we were in trouble. Everything's fine. Yeah, I thought we were in trouble. Everything's fine. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a great shot of Lando there. It could be. I mean, it could be addressing those things. I think the Last Jedi trailer definitely was speaking to the audience on a level outside of the film there.
Yes.
With this is not going to go the way you think. So yeah, it could be. Although it's a weird message to send, like if it's from the perspective of the filmmakers, like, oh man, we thought this movie was going to suck, but now it's fine. The movie's fine. Like, well, hopefully it's better than fine. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
But no, and I love also the way that harkens back to the everything's fine. We're all fine here line. I talked about it with Kevin earlier, but I feel like it does it in a way that's not super cheesy. It's not super over the head. He didn't just like repeat that line and then wink at the camera and say, "Remember when I said that before?"
Yeah.
But it's similar enough that it calls back to it. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Lando looks real cool in this sequence too. I think that's kind of the thing with Lando and with Donald Glover. And anytime he's on screen, it's just like, man, he's so cool. He's got the cool thing going, no doubt.
Yeah.
And then you have this like this space monster. You got to have one in every new Star Wars movie. And that's good. I like it. But it's like almost like the space slug sort of, or something, you know what I mean? Where it's like a creature like out in space, I believe. I don't know. Unless that's a different moment and they're just making it look like it's the same, but I think that's it. So that's cool. And I don't know if there's like black holes back there. I think that's what Mr. Bresnikan was hypothesizing, right? On EW. So that could be, and that would be good. But yeah, I don't know. I think that part, the ending, maybe sold me more than anything else because it was just fun. You know what I mean?
It was a super solid end. Yeah.
It's an adventure.
That gave me the feel of what I wanted this movie to be. Like, oh, I got this. Wait, I don't got this.
Yeah.
Like, is what a young Han Solo movie is to me.
Yep.
And and there's also there's going to be some tragedy, some world weariness, creep through it. But I mean, I think like the core of his character, which I think just nailed even in Force Awakens, was I got this. Wait, I don't got this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. So that vibe is coming across like we want it to in that final moment. And then I think, they're obviously holding back. It's the first teaser. You only want to show so much. And so, we'll see where it goes. But I think without that sequence at the end there, that I got it, no, I don't got it sequence, like
Mhm.
you're calling it. Without that, I'm not sure where I come down on the teaser overall, or this like
Mhm.
what I'm think I'm gonna get. With that sequence, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like there's gonna be fun
Yeah.
stuff. It's gonna be, adventure. And yeah, I kind of want to see him, kind of like when he charges down that hallway and then all of a sudden like stormtroopers are
Yep.
charging right back at him. You want that stuff. You want a
Yep.
lot of that stuff. So I want those Han Solo moments. I want those Indiana Jones moments. I want that kind of thing. And hopefully we're going to get enough of that. Again, Lawrence Kasdan wrote the movie. I feel like it's going to have a lot of that. Hopefully it didn't lose too much of that with the change in directors. But I think the change in director is something that probably is very much rooted in Lawrence Kasdan's script, and keeping it feeling the way the script felt, or the way Lawrence Kasdan intended it to feel.
Mhm.
That's obviously speculation, but I think that's the case. It seems that way.
Mhm.
So hopefully it's a classic Lawrence Kasdan writing for a Harrison Ford character, I guess we could say, script. And when he does that, he does it super well. Empire, Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, especially, and Force Awakens too. They're all written for that Harrison Ford character so well. So I gotta maintain the faith in it for that reason alone.
Mhm.
But
I'm feeling pretty good about it, to be
yeah,
honest. Like this has been, I don't know, like I feel I really the only recent Star Wars movie that I've like felt confident about the whole time has been Last Jedi. Like
mm-hmm.
going into it, but like I was nervous as all heck about Force Awakens. Rogue One, also super nervous. This movie, extremely concerned. um, and I mean, and I was like extremely concerned up until like yesterday, and then saw that teaser and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. There's some cool stuff. I think I'll have fun maybe watching this movie. I don't know. But then after like the full trailer today, I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm. But I'm still not like 100%. This could have been like, these are the best parts we have in this movie. Like, here you go. Which happens a lot with trailers. It may be a mess, or it may have like something in it that makes it really unfaithful to the character, or something, or parts that just drag. I mean, who knows? There's so much that can go wrong in the making of a movie. Like, it's amazing that like any good movies exist. In general. So yeah, but I'm feeling way more positive, and at the very least, I'm just stoked to buy a whole ton of Lando merch.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think you can't lose with that. Like, it was kind of like when I was going into Force Awakens, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this movie, but I like BB-8. So I'm just buying this BB-8 stuff, and even if I don't like the movie, I still have all these cool ball robots.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in a very similar place. I guess I would say I was nervous about this movie. I've been nervous about it. I wasn't happy about it when it was announced, but after coming to terms with like they're definitely doing this movie, in the last year or so, I would say, like, even with the directors being fired and stuff, I'm not so much in a place where I'm super nervous, but where I'm just more like, I don't really know. It's like, who knows? It's who knows what it'll be. I didn't have a bad feeling about it so much as like, sorry, but just more like, we'll have to wait and see. It's crazy to even like really try to jump to too many conclusions without seeing a single second of footage. So
Mhm.
now that we've seen some footage, I think it makes a lot more sense to sort of start forming opinions about like what it is and what we think it will be, and if we'll be happy with it or not. And like I said, I feel like the trailer, it's got great stuff in it, lots of really cool moments and stuff, but I don't know that I totally get a feel for what the movie is. I'm hoping it's a lot of the stuff like towards the end, and if that's the case, I think it'll be good. I'm pretty confident it's going to be good, but I wouldn't say that like what it is as a movie and the personality that it's going to have and stuff is totally like communicated yet. And maybe it's like, maybe sometimes you don't know until you see a movie exactly what it is, which, well, obviously you don't know exactly what it is, but you know what I mean? You don't have a good grasp on what it is until you see it, and that would be fine too. But yeah, I'm pretty positive. We have to wrap things up, but before we do, I definitely want to talk about these posters that were released on StarWars.com today because they're incredible. There are 4: Solo, Kira, Lando, and Chewie. And how would you describe the look of them? Like, what do you think they were going for with these?
Like blue velvet, like peeking through a closet door. I don't know, with like the slices and stuff. That was the first thing that came to mind for
Okay.
me.
See, I think maybe they're going for like a Western novel cover kind of thing, or like maybe like a pulpy. I don't know if pulpy is the right word, but like a very like 40s, 50s kind of like Western, or even like adventure kind of movie thing.
Yeah, the Han one for sure.
Yeah, but like even the fact that like it's like this like I don't know what kind of paper you would call that, but like
now that I'm looking at it, for sure. And even like the poses, like
yeah.
Kira's pose and like what she's wearing.
How about Lando's pose?
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
But they don't full on, like, it's not a book cover obviously, but it's pretty close to that, I think. And
Yeah.
that's a positive thing too, I think, in terms of like, well, what is this movie? Well, why do you market it like that? You know what I mean? If you think it's like this big epic, like, super intense, serious movie, like why are the first posters we're seeing looking like the covers of old Western novels or whatever, and I guess I'm asking that rhetorical question in a way that is meant to suggest like it's going to be fun. It's going to have some flavor. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's why it's got
Set
like
up
a totally different
expectations.
kind of poster. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me really confident and happy too, because that's what I want.
And I see this is kind of where I love the idea of these standalone movies. Because if we got like this like epic like war movie with Rogue One, which I mean it wasn't just a war movie, but it was kind of a war movie.
Yeah.
And then if this has a vibe like a western, like a lighthearted western, like that's awesome. Like if the vibes are totally different but still maintaining that Star Wars flavor, like that's going to make these standalone movies really fun. And like yeah, that makes me like excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think that's for sure what I'm hoping for too. So,
But it's also way harder than people think to nail the tone of genre stuff as well, especially like sort of neglected genres. I mean that's a tough thing to get right, and especially have it make sense in like a pre-existing universe.
Yeah, no, I think we've definitely seen that it's a tricky process. That it's been troublesome on Rogue One and troublesome on Solo too. But most of us agree, I think, that Rogue One came together really, really well, despite any kind of warning signs or concerns people might have had. And hopefully, we're on a similar trajectory here for Solo. I think we are. But yeah, we'll have to wrap up here for now. But I think we've got a lot of exciting stuff, obviously, coming down the pipeline here with Solo. I can't wait to see toys released. And surely there'll be word about other things, books and stuff like that. So we'll start to see more merchandise. We'll start to see more, discussion. A Vanity Fair article, probably, hopefully. I don't know. Well, they probably didn't do that with Rogue One though, maybe, huh? So maybe not. But
yeah, I don't think so.
More of that kind of thing on the way. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun couple months. So until then, we're gonna wrap up now. So you can follow us on Twitter at Blockade Run, or check out our site, blockaderunnerpodcast.com, to keep up with everything that we're doing. Mostly podcasts every couple of weeks, but we're bringing back the power of the 90s, hopefully very soon. And I'm looking forward to that. We took a break in December and January for The Last Jedi, but I'm pumped to get back into some 90s Star Wars stuff here coming up very soon, Ryan. And we've got, the YouTube channel. So subscribe there, follow us on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, rate us on iTunes would be super cool. We would love that. So but blockaderunnerpodcast.com. And Ryan, listeners, viewers can find you on Twitter at Brawn Dwarf.
Brawn Dwarf, BRAWNDWARF.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks for being here with me tonight, Ryan, talking about Solo, and we'll be back soon with another episode of the Blockade Runner Podcast.